Welcome, to the Rustybug Podcast.
Welcome to Rustybug Podcast. I'm your host, Afidi Wonkum.
And I'm Skye Kitty.
Today we have Mrs. Liss. So how are you?
Well, it's been a busy day, girls, but all the better that I get to sit down and chat with you ladies.
I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but do you mind just explaining your job at the school?
Okay, so officially I am the head of sport. I still teach some phys ed in the school. I teach the grade R's and I teach the grade 6s. They teach me a lot, possibly more than I teach them, which I thoroughly enjoy. And then I manage the sports portfolio in the school as well as sitting on the senior management team.
Okay. How does sport contribute to a child's life in your opinion?
Sure. So I think that's a pretty loaded question. For me, I think our bodies are made to move. I think on a day like this, when you see little grade R's running through the water, or you see a little child running after a balloon, and just that pure joy in the movement, and I think that epitomizes why sport is so important. Our bodies are made to move, and that's what sport's all about. And I think the joy and excitement, as well as the life lessons that we can get from sport, I think all those contribute to why sport's so important.
Is that the reason why sport's important for you?
Definitely. I think that I've had the privilege of taking part in so many different types of sport, from individual to team sports to your more traditional sports to perhaps the not so traditional sports. So I've loved sport, playing it on a competitive level as well as on a more social level from a very young age.
And what are some of the sports that you played?
Wow. Okay. Quite a lot. Like I said, more traditional sports like netball and hockey, swimming, tennis. I also took part in springboard diving competitively for many years. And due to an ankle injury, I then started playing touch rugby. And I've had the privilege to play that at quite a high level. I really have just loved any sport that I've had the opportunity to play. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, so we know that you went to the school actually. Like, what was your favorite school then?
My favorite sport?
Sport in school, sorry.
It's okay. My favorite sport?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I think I started swimming at the age of 4, and I think swimming will always hold a very, very special place in my heart. Just what swimming brought into my life, just that other sports that swimming opened up. I love being underneath the water. I feel like it's this magical place that you get to escape to. But saying that, I also love touch rugby. It's given me the opportunity to travel and compete at the highest level. I've competed provincially and for South Africa at World Cups. But I also love running. I just love being able to run in the forest after work, after days like this where it's been raining. And I guess I have to mention the thrill of being able to ride a wave surfing is also something that I really enjoy.
So being head of sport, what was your proudest moment at Rustybug?
Oh, sure. There are many memorables, but many years ago, and I say many because I've been at the school for 20 years now, I attended a sports conference up at St. Stithians, and I heard a speaker speak on the long-term athletic development model. And basically it looks at how young children should progress through learning their fundamental movement skills, when we should introduce competitive sport, and just progressing athletes. It was my lived experience that girls that were placed under quite a lot of pressure from their parents, you get to that grade 9 year and they just dropped out. They were junior SA athletes in various sports. And I'd seen sort of that progression, that same story being retold quite a lot now that I was in a position of coaching and leading a school in sport. I'd also experienced quite a bit of competitiveness and maybe not the most positiveness out of a parent situation on a few occasions, and I realized that this was a really valuable model, and it was something I wanted to bring back to Rustybug. It was unknown at the time. It was a very foreign concept. I came back, I put a quite a bit of research into it, and I pitched it at our strategic planning, at our senior management team. And I was gifted the opportunity to then launch this and take it forward. We were the only school at the time that was following this model. And I took away competitive sport from our grade 1s and our grade 2s. I introduced our games day program where the girls work on a rotational basis. I extended what we do with our under 9s. And I've kind of like just grown it from there. So I guess if I was to take it back, that was like the launch pad to where I see we've progressed in sport at Rustybug.
Talking about things that you introduced in the school, is there any like other things you are planning to do in terms of sport?
Well, look, I think we've done quite a lot, but we still have a lot more to do. Next term, for instance, we have a fantastic community event. We'll be having a soccer festival for the first time. I'll also be hosting our first PGSGU soccer festival. We're going to invite other schools to come along. Where we're sitting now, I'm really focusing on our skills gap, which has been created, unfortunately, by this worldwide pandemic that we have all been living through. So my focus for the last, for this year has been trying to just see where those gaps are, see how we can upskill you ladies, see how we can upskill our coaches. That's what we've been working on. And I think we're going to take it from there. But I am excited about our upcoming soccer events that we'll be hosting at school.
Do you think there's going to be any new sports in the future? Because in our class, there was a lot of people with like petitions asking people to like bring rugby and cricket. Do you think that there's going to be like any new sport? Maybe not this year, but in the future.
Absolutely. I think it's very hard just to say a no to anything because, our school's in a journey of change, of progression, which we should be every day. We've got to be looking to look outside the box. I actually met with a young lady who I used to coach for touch rugby. Her name's Zoe. She coaches our Power Ed program that we run with our foundation phase learners. And she has just secured an amazing sponsor. So I spoke to her 2 days ago, and she will be launching junior school and high school all-female rugby program, and she's asked me if she can set up a time when she can come in and speak to our girls. So that's on the cards. I know you ladies don't know about it, so that's the first time this will be coming out. I haven't set a date yet, but Zoe and I chatted 2 days ago, and we're going to be launching that, and it's just really exciting that an international sponsor is really putting a good amount of finances behind upskilling our young rugby players in the country.
Yeah, it's like a little trailer you're giving us right now. As you said before, you've been at this school for a really long time. Do you mind telling us your whole journey with Rustybug Girls Junior?
Sure. Okay, so I started here in 1983, and believe it or not, as a very shy little 5-year-old. And I was at Rustybug Junior. I went on to Rustybug High. I then went on to study sports science at the University of Stellenbosch, where I majored in psychology, and I did a postgrad in education. And then Rustybug Junior was advertising for a phys ed post. And before I'd left for Stellenbosch, I started coaching netball at both Rustybug Junior and Rustybug High. So I tried to gain a bit of experience. I'd come into the school as well, done some prac teaching. I'd also availed myself to do some extra volunteer work in the school. And then when the post became available, I applied for it and got the job as a phys ed teacher here. And subsequently, a few years later, I applied for the head of sport position and was promoted up into that position. So,
what made you want to come back?
Do you know what? I love school, and I love this school, and I think that that Rustybug taught me some amazing lessons, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. I didn't always have it easy. There were some tough times, but they were tough life lessons that I learned, and I think they've made me a stronger and a better person. And I'm not talking about my adult life. I'm talking about my school career. I made some amazing friends. I had some incredible teachers. I had some coaches who really spoke truth into my life and were there when I needed them. And I really wanted to give back to all of my years. I was probably one of the only matrics who was like, people cry in matric because they're going. I was crying because I was like leaving Rustybug because I really I really loved school.
So working here is like a opportunity to stay with things you love.
That's true, and also to give back, and I think that's really important. And just see the school grow from strength to strength.
After you retire, what would you like people to remember you as?
That my yes is my yes, and my no is my no. But above all, I think that's someone who cared.